Nicole here from the Key West Tropical Forest and Botanical Garden for another Species Spotlight. And I'm standing at our North Side Pond because today we're highlighting the red-eared slider turtle. Now this turtle isn't actually native here. It's native to the Mississippi Valley, but this turtle has been introduced to many places around the world, making it invasive to many regions, including here. And when you think about it, it makes sense that it's invasive here in the Florida Keys, because we're a chain of islands surrounded by salt water. So it doesn't really make sense for us to have freshwater turtles. There's only 3 bodies of fresh water in the entire Keys, and we have 2 of them right here at the garden. So these turtles will often be introduced by people because they're an aquatic turtle and they're a very common pet. They're very cute and tiny when they're babies, only about this big, but people don't realize that they often grow to be this big. They also can live a very long time. In the wild, they live for about 40 years, but in captivity, they can live up to 70 years, which is a very long time. So sometimes, unfortunately, what happens is humans will have them as pets and they'll release them into the wild. And because there's not too much fresh water here in the Keys, they often find their way here to our ponds. They're also on the list of 100 most invasive species around the world. So they're invasive here, but many other places as well. But the turtles here have plenty to eat, and unfortunately what makes them invasive is they do often eat our native species, eating plants and also animals. Because what's interesting is that although the adults are herbivores, meaning they eat only plants, the juveniles are actually omnivores, so they will eat not only our native plants, but they'll also eat some other creatures that they find in the ponds. They might eat crayfish, small fish, and they can even eat small birds. And these turtles are actually kind of interesting because most turtles don't have real true teeth. So just like these don't have real true teeth, they have these ridges inside of their mouth and a strong jaw to bite down. So let's take a closer look and see what makes these turtles so distinct with their coloration. So our Northside Pond is a great place to see these turtles up and close. And once you see them, you'll understand why they're called red-eared sliders. When you look closely, they actually look like they have a red ear because they have a red marking on the side of their face, as you can see right here with this guy. They also have color distinction with their shells and their skin, so they have olive colored and brown shells and skin, and they also have some yellow stripes. So we can see on the top of this shell right here, there's some yellow stripes. The red ears and the yellow stripes actually help to deter predators because predators will look at them and see these colors, and it looks like a warning sign because often we associate those colors with harm. So they will often avoid these turtles because of their coloring. And these turtles are interesting because the females are typically larger and the males are smaller. And they have a mating ritual, which we can see happening right here. So the males, which are much smaller, will swim in front of the larger females, and they will do almost like jazz hands to get the attention of the female. And this is like a courtship for them to mate. The males also tend to have larger claws than the females. So let's head on over and check out a red-eared slider nest. If you've been to the garden recently or you follow us on Instagram, you've probably seen that we have a red-eared slider turtle nest right here in the courtyard of the garden. So I was actually fortunate enough to witness one of our female red-eared sliders laying her eggs. So I'll insert that video right here for you to see. And here she is. She dug a hole, and that's where she's going to lay her eggs. Good job, Mama. So that turtle was laying a clutch of eggs, and there could be anywhere from 2 to 30 eggs in a clutch at a given time for red-eared sliders. But they also can lay up to 5 clutches a year. And this is their time of year for them to be laying eggs. So often you'll see turtles climb out of their freshwater, their ponds, and they'll go find a spot where they dig a small shallow hole and they lay their eggs. But unfortunately, only about 1% of hatchlings actually make it to adulthood, and that's just because of predators getting them Even some predators can find the eggs and eat the eggs before they've even had time to hatch. Their incubation period is actually quite long, so these eggs will be incubating anywhere from 59 to 112 days. It's a pretty long time. And what's actually quite interesting is something that happens in their incubation period, and it has to do with the weather. So the warmer the soil is where the eggs are, the more likely it is that females will be born. The colder temperatures is more likely that males will be born. Now, this is something really important for us to know in regards to global warming. With weather fluctuating and changing, we risk that future babies being born are all going to be just male or just female in certain areas. And if we have just all males and just all females, they'll no longer be able to reproduce, and we risk losing an entire species because of what's happening in the world around us with the weather changing. But I hope you learned a lot from this species spotlight. I know I have. They're very interesting turtles with a lot of fun facts. So if you're interested in learning more, check out our Google Classroom, our virtual living lab, by registering for free at keywest.garden/education. See you next time.